Okay, today I need to work on the rear suspension on my wife's Honda Element because the rear tires are wearing heavily on the inside. Now I've already replaced the struts and they've continued to wear heavily on the inside. So today I'm going to install these adjustable upper control arms. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to tilt the wheel back out completely vertical. Okay, so let's see how badly these things are aiming towards the inside. I've got my T-square here, and it's resting against the bottom of the rubber. But we're not going to measure that, we're measuring the rim. So right here, the rim is just about 1 inch. If we go up here to where it meets, now it's at about 1 3/8 inches. So that short distance is causing this tire to lean in 3/8 of an inch. Okay, let's inspect the edge of the tire here. I mean, right away, this is the inside, and I can see it's kind of feathered. It's got some a lot of rubber that's real thin on the front side of each one of these, which would be the rear side on the bottom. So that means it kind of seems like it's dragging almost. And if I put my edge on there, I don't know if we can really tell, but this is definitely wearing more than this is, especially on the corners of it. This is reverse threaded. You try and screw it in, it actually screws out. Okay, this one here is not reverse threaded. You screw it out to screw it out. So that tells me that all we have to do is rotate this barrel to get the entire thing to adjust. Now what I'm looking at, I see a couple holes here, and it came with this plate and a couple screws and a big nut, and I'm guessing that this is to attach onto here so that we can attach this conglomeration of stuff to this. So how does this attach, I wonder? Feels like there's some sort of screw thing down below maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to clean this off and find out. Okay, so I cleaned it off, and this is what I discovered. It just has 2 popple things attached to this plate, which attached it into this bar on the bottom. And as luck would have it, that perfectly matches up with that plate that they provided. So my guess is, I just need to make sure that a set of these holes ends up facing down, so I can attach that plate, and then attach that to the plate. Okay, something I like to do to make this process go a little easier. The thread that's sticking out the back side of the nut here, I like to go ahead and clean it off with a wire brush and then spray a little bit of penetrating oil on it. Let's hope that that helps make this process a little less painful. Alrighty, we got the old control arm off, and it was just 2 bolts, 17mm socket. Luckily, these ones are new enough that didn't put up a fight. So now, here we have the new control arm, and I've screwed everything in as far as it'll go. So now what I want to do is I want to try and make these both the same length, or maybe perhaps make this one a pinch longer. And I want to do that by rotating the barrel. So let's hold that side still if we can. Well, it's too tight. There we go. And then we want to screw this out. There we go. Okay, that there is looking pretty close, so I may just let it go at that, and then I'll adjust it once I get everything on here and get the tire on the car. Okay, so I've got the bolt in the backside here attached, but there was no way to get my torque wrench up there, so I just had to make it fairly tight. The front side here, I muscled this together and pushed the bolt through, and they have provided a nut for the other side of the bolt because there's not one welded onto the control arm like there was on the old control arm. Not a big deal. I'll just have to find another wrench and do that. Okay, so I've got a square here on the ground. Let's go ahead and measure this before I make any adjustments. Let's see, that is hitting the rim at just under 1 inch, about a 1/16 less than 1 inch. Up on the top, well, we've got a full 1¼ inch. So you got to adjust this so the tire goes out. Okay, so after rotating that barrel about, what was it, 1½ turns, I end up with about 13/16 down here and about 13/16 up here. So I will assume this is done. I'm just going to go ahead and put on those tightening nuts and call this side done, but I am going to still have to attach that wire to the bottom using that plate. Okay, so I've got my kite string set up here, and I've measured from the center of each hub such that the string goes right over the 8-inch mark. So now what I'm doing is I'm measuring from either side of the rim. This one is just over 7.5. This one is just over 7 9/16. So it's about a 1/16 of an inch towed in. So I'm going to have to correct that. Okay, so here we are underneath the car. Let me see if I can shimmy in here. Okay, so to adjust the toe, you have to loosen this center nut. That's a 17, and I've got a 1-inch wrench on there. And since my wheel was towed in, all I had to do is push down on the wrench and pull the back in a little bit to set it straight. And now things are lined up fine, so it's time to retighten the center nut and be done with the toe angle. I'm done with the control arm installation, and I've got the wheels about as vertical as I can get them. And it didn't throw the toe off very much, only about a 1/16 of an inch. So I went ahead and make that slight adjustment. And now I'm going to let this ride for a few months and see if it has any more uneven tread wear. So that should do it for now. Thanks for watching.